I take it for granted, but in my line of work, I have a lot to thank the good old humble tree for. Where would I be without some radiata pine or some Tassie oak? I'd probably be, I don't even have the imagination to think about what I'd be. So I thought I'd show my appreciation by bringing the outside in with a set of shelves inspired by my good old mate here. For the design, I'm going with an outline of a tree, kind of like a silhouette, and there'll be ample shelving in between, so there'll be plenty of room for your knick-knacks. I'm using some 19mm ply, and to start, I'm going to draw out the trunks. The trunks are marked out, and I've just made it thicker down the bottom and thinner up the top. Now I need to add some branches. Now the trick with this is the less branches, the less cutting. So let's see how creative I get. I think that looks good. And with it all marked out, to cut it out, I'll be using a circular saw and finishing it off with the jigsaw. That's the trees cut out, and I think they're looking fantastic. Now, just going to cut the shelves to join them together. I also cut the rails to hold up the shelves. Now, I'm going to mark out the trunks for where they go. Those marked out, now I need to find the centre, because that's where these rails will sit. The easiest way to do that is to mark the centre at the top, the centre down the bottom, and then I'll draw an intersecting line through. And then line the centre of the grain up with that, and that's where it goes. Now I'm just going through and drilling a hole for where the screws go. Then I'll use this piece as a template to mark the others. Frame's put together and the glue dry. Now I'm going to take these screws out. You think I'm going crazy, but the reason I'm doing that is because I'm replacing it with these dowels. Not only will it be a stronger hold, but it'll be a great feature. You'll get to see the end grain and will save me from filling the holes.
I've been in bed, 'cause I've been in trouble. I've been insensitive.
Sanding complete, I'm just going over everything with 2 coats of clear. With everything dry, to put it together, I'm starting with this shelf here because I've got these 2 points on each side that I can line up with. Once I've got this fixed in, I'll then stand it up, adjust the trunk so they're on the right angle and it's sitting flush on the ground, and then finish putting the shelves in. How unique is this? I think it looks great. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to dress it up.
Adam's built these custom shelves inspired by nature, and I think they look just amazing. He's asked me to continue the theme and fill them with greenery, so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to show you just what a difference indoor plants can make to a room and your well-being. So let's breathe new life into this living room. If you want a cheap, easy way to add to your indoor plant collection, then you might want to think about propagation. So in essence, propagation is creating a baby plant from the mother plant, and there's no simpler way to do it than just in water. So things like devil's ivy, monstera, some of the trailing philodendrons are a really good place to start. And you don't need many ingredients. So all you need is, of course, some water, some nice decorative jars or glasses, and a good pair of floral snips or secateurs. Now, I always like to keep my tools nice and clean, so I'm just going to spray it with a little bit of alcohol, just to avoid any disease transfer. Now this is the monstera or Swiss cheese plant. I find that trailing plants like this work really well for this type of propagation because these nodes on the stem are really easy to see, and it's where the roots will emerge from. So what you want to do is cut directly below that node. I'm just filling this decorative jam jar now with a little bit of water. Then we can get our cutting in. So the idea is that you don't want any foliage to be below that water line. So I'm just going to remove that lower leaf and then we can pop it in. Then it's just a matter of putting that in a bright, indirect light position just to wait for those roots to appear. Now here's my tip for you, just make sure you're patient, okay? Most of these plants would take maybe 2 to 3 weeks to form roots, but I've had some take, a month or more, so it's well worth the wait. But having said that, I propagated this ficus about 2.5 weeks ago, and check this out. It's already got these beautiful little roots forming. I think that's the one thing I love about this type of propagation is that you can really see what's going on under there, so it'd be great activity for the kids. And then one final tip for you, just make sure that you refresh that water in the jar, say every 3 to 5 days, just to keep that growing environment nice and clean. Now, if you're a person who sometimes forgets to water, or maybe you just want a low-maintenance indoor plant display, then you might want to consider one of the self-watering pots. So this one's one with a little bit of a difference. It's a ceramic pot. So in the base here, this is your little water reservoir. As long as there's plenty of water in there, the plant will water itself. And because the top is terracotta, it's nice and porous, so the water easily soaks through. And these are a great choice for something like an indoor shelf because there's no mess and there's no need to constantly monitor your plant's watering needs. And if you're looking for something a bit different that you can't find in the shops, then here's a great way to add some personality, some plain cover pots. Everyone's got an old pair of jeans hanging around the house, so I'm going to recycle some denim to make a really cute cover pot. So what I've done is I've just started by cutting the leg off the pants. I'm going to use the seam of the leg to form a really nice, neat top around the pot. So I'm just going to start by wrapping the leg around the circumference of the pot with a little bit of overlap. That way I know exactly where to cut my material. Okay, now I'm going to cut down the inside seam so that we can open up that pant leg. I've just cut out some iron-on interfacing because if you're working with, say, a flexible or soft material that's a bit stretchy like this, then it's a good idea to get some of that on the back to make sure your cover pot stands up nice and straight. Now, all you need to do is cut off any of that interfacing that's just hanging out. And on that bottom edge there, you could tuck the denim underneath to form a nice hem, or I'm just going to cut it off to form a nice, neat edge. Now the hot glue gun comes into play. So all we need to do is wrap our pot and glue it on. So I think the denim looks really cute on its own, but it's also nice to add a little bit of detail. So what I've done is got my hands on a little bit of cane that was left over from a job, and I'm cut it into a strip that I'm going to glue onto the bottom of the pot. You could even paint the denim with acrylic paint to add a pop of colour. But if you've got a larger cover pot, then you quite simply create a pattern like this. It's sort of windmill shaped, and I've just joined 2 pant legs together. You put your pot in the centre and you can wrap the denim around and glue it as you go. And it ends up looking something like this. So you can see it's worth doing that little bit of extra effort with a pattern to get that nice diagonal effect. For the styling of the shelves, I'm drawing on the colours that are already in the room with the furnishings and the cushions. So I'm using touches of blue with our denim. I've then got touches of white and pink. I'm trying to create little vignettes. So I'm largely working in groups of 3 to create a nice little visual triangle. And I haven't just used the visual triangle in the little vignettes, I've used it across the shelves to bring the whole look together. So see with the denim pots, how your eye moves from here to here to here. A little splash of greenery and some simple styling, and wow, what a difference. This looks amazing. You know, the thing I do love about houseplants is not only do they really transform a space, but they can also help to purify the air inside your home and make you feel happier and more inspired. And the thing I love about this project is that you can start small. So you could propagate a few plants using just water and then eventually build up to having your own happy houseplant gang.